former CIA Staff Operations Officer, also formerly of the FBI. Tracy Walder is with us. Now, there's two parts to this, right? One is that Republicans base their entire case against Joe Biden on this account. But the other part of this is how the FBI handled this guy and employed him for 14 years. Is there any other explanation other than the FBI really screwed up here?
In my opinion, no. I mean, I think there needs to be a thorough damage assessment done, because I don't think that it's just isolated to Hunter Biden, quite frankly, and all of the Burisma connections. I think there may be more in terms of disinformation and wrong information that he has purposely given them. And this is hugely problematic, because what it tells me is that the FBI didn't test their source and they didn't vet their source properly. And had they probably done so, this could have been avoided, because really, this is what everyone is, quite frankly, hanging their hat on in regards to Biden's impeachment.
Right. So that's the political side of this. But what I can't figure out about the FBI is we went down this path before in 2016 with Crossfire Hurricane, right? This was the whole point with Carter Page and everybody else of the FBI just buying hook, line, and sinker what was being put out by the Russians. In that case, it was against Donald Trump. In this case, it's against Joe Biden. But boy, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. How did the FBI not learn?
I think part of the problem is the culture there. The FBI is a law enforcement organization, right? That is their job, to gather evidence and then ultimately convict somebody for a crime. The problem is that and counterintelligence doesn't necessarily jive together. And the people that you're attracting as special agents don't necessarily want to go the counterintelligence route. When I was there was only one squad that did it in the entire United States, and there were 8 of us. That's it. Obviously, there's more now, but the reality is that's not necessarily the type of work that people at the FBI are wanting to do. We also have to remember they were not even cleared to the SCI level, Special Compartmented Information, which is handling human assets. Everyone was not cleared until really 2006, 2007. So it's actually relatively new that the FBI has been dealing with this. I'm not excusing them. They need to get it together. But you also have Charlie McGonigal, who's now serving prison time, who was their director of counterintelligence. And so they have massive internal problems as well in terms of really recruiting good agents that want to work this issue.
Yeah, look, it's also hard to figure out why you'd want to go work for the FBI. We started the program, why did you want to go work as a teacher or a police officer? But why do you want to go work for the FBI when they keep getting it wrong in this way? There is a theory out there, right, on conservative Twitter and among some in very conservative media, that this is nothing more than the DOJ trying to protect President Biden and silence any future whistleblowers. And everything this guy said was true about Hunter Biden, but the DOJ is charging him to throw everybody off the case. You've read the document. We've put it out on War Notes. It's worth reading, sort of as the FBI and DOJ goes through how they screwed up. Is there any way to plausibly make the case that conservatives are making?
In my opinion, no. I understand where they're coming from, but the reality is actually this is very typical Russian fashion. I'm not at all surprised that the Russians were doing this. You know, we associate Putin with being this assassin, right? And he is, don't get me wrong. But also one of the things that they are brilliant at are psyops and meddling in our elections. And that's what they want to do. And this was their way of meddling in our election. And we just really forget that they play this psychological long game. So in my opinion, it has all the hallmarks of a Russian psychological campaign.
Well, so it goes back, right? This was the Russian playbook. They did this in the 60s and 70s when they pushed leftist organizations in America and supported them and got into the the revolutionary Black Panther movement. And then you go all the way through the 1980s, 1990s. Then how they tried to involve themselves in the 2016 elections, now the 2020 elections. It all makes sense. I guess you've answered it. It's come back to it. The FBI just hasn't learned. They just got hooked like a fish. All right, Tracy, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Excellent perspective.
Thank you so much for having me, Leland.
Yes, ma'am. Coming up. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.